Now, before we start today's lesson, I want you to sit up straight, listen to every word I say, no talking unless I tell you to. Could you imagine your response to all of that being hurled at you the minute you walk through the door? Would you just do it? Or would you do as many teenagers do, and younger and older? And that is to say, no. You challenge when rules are not reasonable, don't you? Now, when you think of the classroom, it's supposed to be a learning environment, and learning requires interaction. Learning requires being able to listen and respond. Learning requires you to want to be there to make your brain more receptive. However, this is the example of dodgy practice. I worked in a school in East London, in Hackney, in which teachers were told in the last term of the summer, for the next 6 weeks, in every lesson throughout the day, we are to read out a list of instructions to the students so that they will know they have to do it. Now, I've never met a teenager who gets a list of rules and then says automatically, oh, yes, then I must do that. It's not in their job description, is it? It's not, because they are teenagers and they are rebellious, and quite rightly so. It's that their time in life. However, let me tell you what those rules were. They were called SLANT. In other words, sit up straight. Listen to every word that we say. Nothing wrong with that. Answer when asked to. Plenty wrong with that. No talking between yourselves. Lots wrong with that. And track every word the teacher says. And then lastly, we had to say, now slant. And the kids had to sit up straight like that. Now, that is not a comfortable environment to be in. But if you sat like this, then you're fine, but it's an hour. But if you relaxed into the learning to listen a bit more like this, then you were told off. So in other words, you will do as you're told, and you will learn as we, in any way we tell you to. It's unfair, it's not right, and it certainly doesn't make for an encouraging learning environment. It makes for an oppressive learning environment. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there should not be boundaries, because there absolutely should. And children tend to respect and enjoy boundaries because it tells them where that line is that they shouldn't step over. But the line doesn't have to be too restrictive, does it? Because you want them responding. You want them curious enough. You want them to want to learn more. You want them to ask questions and really push on the concepts that you're trying to teach them. That way, and only that way, will they be ready for the world of tomorrow, in which everybody is trying to get that little bit further. The competition is a lot more intense, and your child needs to be able to respond in a way that is right for them. They will only be able to respond with a more comfortable, interactive learning environment. So, how to encourage learning? Encourage learning through really showing the child that you know them and that you want to give them what's best for them. Don't try and be too restrictive, because that only encourages a pushback, which will not help the learning process one little bit. So I want you to remember that dodgy practice from that school in East London. SLANT, oppress the kids. No, we don't do that. What we're looking for is to encourage the kids. So you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.